Hey guys, it's Nicole here. I am just at my business space at Holistic Vitality. So I have my giant gong behind me. Um, Anyways, I just completed my water fast and wanted to go into details about what I did, what I experienced, what preparation I took leading into it, and what other protocols that I took to benefit my well-being, and what I got out of it. So before I actually go into detail about all of that, it is important that if this is something that you are considering for yourself, do your research and use your discernment wisely. And if you do have any chronic illness or different ailments, it would probably be wise to get a second opinion from your healthcare practitioner to make sure that this is a protocol that is right for you. And of course, don't take what I did verbatim as far as what you need to be doing for you. Like I said, do your own research. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of looking into this water cleanse, and I've been really feeling drawn to it. In fact, the reasons why is I felt like my body was just not feeling right. I was feeling like more fatigued, and that could also be because, I'm a newer mom with a 3-month-old, and so obviously the sleep deprivation could play a big part in the fatigue. But I was also feeling like, with my moods and my thoughts were just not authentically in a good space, like I would prefer them to be. And I just felt like they weren't truly my own thoughts. And so I wanted to try to eliminate certain things from not only my diet, but my lifestyle, so I could assess what is causing me to feel terrible or not so good. Not to mention, obviously, there is a benefit to doing it with the weight loss. So like I said, I'm freshly like 3 months in with a baby. So it was kind of nice to even be able to really lose that post-pregnancy weight really quickly. So that was nice. And I know that many people who seek out doing this cleanse would do it for the benefits of weight loss all by itself. However, from what I understand from the research that I've done, is that people with chronic illness and certain ailments have been able to make dramatic recoveries by doing a fast. So I really liked the theory behind all of this, meaning what I kind of looked into, and the reasons why this water fast is supposed to be really powerful at regenerating you on a cellular level, and not to mention the benefits of detoxification, is because when you're consuming food, your body is using its energy resources just to digest that food. So it doesn't actually go into being able to really go into your tissues and your muscles and different areas where you might store different toxic substances or just toxicity in general. And so the ability to therefore detoxify or heal on that cellular level is less likely because your energy is constantly consuming food, and therefore it's using its energy resources to do so. So also, that being said, all of your different organs, and I believe endocrine glands, have a different, life cycle, which on a cellular level of turnover as to where you can even essentially recreate that organ on a cellular level if it was given that enough time to heal itself. So, but every organ, I guess, has a different time frame of the ability to regenerate and heal itself. So I really kind of liked the concept of that, and the idea of just cleansing my body, purifying it. And I really wanted to sync it up with this new year, with 2019, especially for the month of January, because I knew we had two major eclipses in this month. We just had the solar eclipse on the 5th of January, and we're about to, as I'm making this video, about to go into the lunar eclipse, which is actually a super blood wolf moon lunar eclipse. So it's supposed to be really powerful, and that falls on the 20th and or the 21st, depending on your geographical location and time zone, therefore. So not to mention, I am preparing to undertake a plant medicine journey the day before this eclipse, and with ayahuasca. And I've worked with this medicine in the past, and so it's been a while since I've been able to work with it because I was pregnant and then had a baby. So I'm finally now getting the opportunity to kind of, work with this powerful plant medicine and work with my intentions of what I am trying to get out of it. And so I really just wanted to prepare myself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I wanted to use this water fast as a platform to purify my body and cleanse it as best I could, to really make this particular journey very special for myself. So I still have yet to see what comes of that, and so I might do a follow-up video with that, but I wanted to go into detail about the protocols I took. That being said, it's usually recommended for the best or optimum results to do a 21-day fast. Now people can see some benefits from even doing a 3-day fast or a 2-week fast, but 21 days is what I understand to be the optimum, and some people can even go all the way to 40 days. It is also then good to realize, and from the stuff that I studied anyways and looked into, is that we have such a big misconception about thinking that if we don't eat food for a few days, we're going to starve and die. And evidently that's not true. And for others that have, spoken so highly of their benefits with doing their fast, obviously, speak, in favorable terms of what happened to them for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there might be some room for things to go wrong, and like I said, you definitely want to do your research and discernment and check with your healthcare practitioner if you're at all concerned. And usually it's recommended to do it under, like kind of, I guess, would it be surveillance, the word? Because there's like this clinic in Costa Rica that specializes in these water fasts, and so I watched a lot of the information through them. If I can find their link to some of that, maybe I'll put it in the body so you can check it out yourself. But I decided to officially start like the preparation of my cleanse the day after Christmas, because obviously around the holiday season you're surrounded by all this like wonderful food, and also I didn't want to offend anybody if I'm like, sorry, I can't eat, I'm just drinking water. But that being said, I kind of still led into even before that with other protocols that I took. First off, I decided that nightly I was going to eat a raw clove of garlic leading into before I started this water fast. The reason why I did that is because most of us, and this is what I find confirmation through doing quantum biofeedback services for my clients, but myself also, and many, I would say majority, probably like 95% of people flag for leaky gut syndrome as a precursor cause to whatever conditions they have or whatever their state of their health is, meaning that gut health is responsible for what your immune system is doing. And unfortunately, our immune system is compromised by, I would link it to, based on what I'm seeing, to a combination of antibiotics and, in my opinion, vaccinations, and also probably contaminated foods or water. Because what that means is when you take antibiotics, it kills off all your gut flora and the good bacteria too, not just the bad bacteria. And so your body doesn't necessarily recolonize that good bacteria to have your immune system serving you and fighting for you, which is what it's supposed to do. So we essentially compromise our immune system, which then leads to a candida overgrowth. And then candida essentially then, which is an internal yeast infection or can also be found vaginally as a yeast infection, is essentially food source to parasites or even amoeba, which is the worm family. So I see a lot of this in my clients' biofeedback results as well as my own. And so that really just made me wanted to take different steps to heal. And so when you have basically, parasitic influence in your body, as they consume the candida, they also release alcoholic-like toxins straight into your bloodstream that even crosses over the blood-brain barrier and gets settled in different organs. Not to mention, many of us have heavy metal toxicity too. And chemicals. I mean, we're just exposed to so many toxins. So I really just wanted to cleanse my system. But on the particular topic of parasites, I received this intuition about garlic as kind of making sense, even on a spiritual level, because think about how you've even heard, like with psychic vampire, or just even vampires, how you want to like put garlic around you or on the door, or, you hear about that. But psychic vampires, so now being that I'm in the spiritual modalities, I am very familiar with, different energy consciousness from a higher place usually, but I'm also susceptible to, like many of us are, susceptible to even parasitic type energies, which some people even refer to psychic attacks. And so I was wondering if that was even a component of why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And so the message that kind of came to me regarding that is to eat fresh raw garlic to basically have your internal system not only fight the physical parasites, but as well as the psychic parasites, if you will. And so I took on this protocol probably a good month and a half before starting this cleanse of doing it nightly. I would energize it and ask this garlic to work with my body like a medicine, because it has its own unique energy. So you really want to consider it as a tool for medicine. So it's not something necessarily like any other medicine that you have to do it every single day forever, right? Listen to your body. But I decided I wanted to do it just leading up to this diet, this cleanse, should I say. Also in that leading up, I also started drinking a hot glass, or say, relatively warm / hot glass of water with a spoon filled with Himalayan sea salt, which is loaded with minerals. And so I would drink that each morning, and as well at nighttime I would do, which they say to put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into, now of course you want the organic, I think the Bragg's is the brand that I used, in a glass of water, but I kind of just did it by the spoonful. So that was kind of like my lead up protocol that I did just to kind of prepare my body on that level. Also in between this, which I did a video about already, I did a combo ceremony, which is tree frog medicine. So that is, you will experience a purgatory effect where you purge physically what your body needs to get rid of. And so I definitely highly recommend exploring that or looking into that just based on my experience, but also some of my friends / clients who have seen wonderful results who do suffer with chronic illness, and they definitely have exclaimed that they have had dramatic improvements just by doing combo a few times, if not more for some of them. So the other sort of protocols I did, and just to kind of cleanse my body and make this kind of ritual, I really honored my bath time as me time, because being a mom, I realized that's how I also got so depleted, is because I'm putting everybody else's needs first. With the work that I do, I'm meeting everybody else's needs as a healer. And, and I was neglecting myself to the point where I was feeling so depleted. And another reason why I decided to make dramatic changes to really honor my philosophy and what I share with clients, I had to own it myself. So my bath time now became my meditative practice, and leading into bath time, and I try to do it as often as possible, nightly if I could, and maybe I'd skip a few days of this protocol, but ideally what I do is I would use a dry brush. So there's a technique that's called dry brushing, and you want like a natural bristle brush, like a boar bristle brush, and you want to scrub your skin a few times in strokes, leading towards your heart. So if you're doing it on your legs, you like pull it up and rub it like about 3 times in each stroke. And then if you're coming down, you want to head towards the heart and do the strokes, just so you slough off a lot of that dead skin, especially because your skin is one of your major detoxification organs. So that was one of the protocols I took on top of that, which is something I highly recommend to all of my clients and all of my friends, and I swear by it. And I've used mine for the last probably 7-8 years, and I have an infrared sauna tent. The difference between the infrared sauna tent and a regular, say, cedar sauna, not only the price difference is huge because the cedar one is way more expensive, but the difference is that the tent is portable, so you can fold it up and put it away, but it's also from the neck down. So you can actually tolerate sitting in the sauna for 30 minutes to an hour easy, because you're not killing off brain cells like you would if you were in a regular sauna, because your brain can't handle or tolerate the same temperatures that your body can. So there's so many health benefits regarding detoxification with using the sauna, because your body can actually have the stamina to sit in there. So if your concerns are weight loss, it's a great weight loss management tool, but detoxification, trying to rid yourself of those toxins, improve your circulation. There's so many healing benefits. So you can do your own research for that, and I'll see if I can put a link to that as well, because I highly recommend it. And I think these days it's only like $200, so it's really good investment that will pay itself off with your health. So after dry brushing, I would sit in my sauna, read my book, because you have little zippers you can stick your hands through and read your book or listen to music, whatever you feel called to. And then I would take a nice Epsom salt soak bath, and with some essential oils if I were to do the bath. But make sure you do a nice scrub when you get in the bath to make sure you release all the toxins that were on the surface of your skin, so you don't reabsorb it back in if this is the process that you end up taking for yourself. And so I did that, and I did a lot of kind of back stretching, because I do my back has been really painful lately, so I've been doing stuff with that, and I have this acupuncture mat that I think you can get online for $20, and I'd lay on that, and it just would just help release some of that pain, which felt really nice. So those kind of some of the protocols besides meditating and some of the spiritual practices that I would do in tandem with these protocols. Then after Christmas, so the next day, I continued, like I said, the garlic, the apple cider, and the Himalayan salt protocol. But I also led into this water cleanse with starting off with some regular tomato soup for the first couple days, and then the next couple days I did bone broth soup. So there's a lot of healing benefits to your gut using bone broth soup, or just bone broth, because it helps with your gut. And I believe collagen is something that it's known for as well, which has a lot of benefits to it too. So I essentially basically started my water fast, which basically means no food, just the water and the protocol of the Himalayan salt with the hot water in the morning and the apple cider at night. I stopped doing the garlic, and I started that on the 1st of January. And right now, I believe it's the 14th or the 15th. I don't know, but I basically did, I think it's the 15th, but I did 2 weeks of this water fast before I broke this fast. And I honestly was planning on going all the way to 21 days. However, my shaman, who I'll be working with this plant medicine, didn't feel comfortable with me still being on this cleanse leading into the ceremony. So he urged me to kind of break it beforehand. So today is my day 1 with, basically eating food again. And so it does feel nice to be able to enjoy my food and make superfood meals. So obviously people are wondering, how can you go 2 weeks without food, right? Now, I must admit, I did have a few little cheats. This may have impacted my results, but when I say cheats, I had like a bite of something here or there. But still, I must admit I did cheat a little bit. And I would say the first few days, actually I would say the first 2 days wasn't that hard for me. It was like the 3rd through the 5th day where those, that's when I kind of had the cheats that happened, because, you're used to being able to eat when you feel like you're hungry, right? So I would say I did have a slight headache, I'd say on the 3rd day. But I would say overall it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad like you would think. And I mean, obviously I did 2 weeks. Some of the things that I also did that I think might have a co-relationship with what else I noticed of how I felt was I used sananga, which I have some with me here, but sananga is an eye drop that is an indigenous eye drop sourced out of the Amazon, and which they use for basically to decalcify your pineal gland and open your 3rd eye chakra and improve your night vision. And they've linked many other benefits to it as well. But those are the main 3 that I'll recite to you. You can look into that as well. And so I started using that nightly starting the 1st day of my cleanse, and I'm still using it nightly. But since being on that cleanse and doing the sananga, I've noticed that I started remembering my dreams every single night, which I haven't been able to do in a couple years since my first child, who's 2 years old, because of this, I never get a chance to reach that REM sleep cycle because I'm, constantly being interrupted in my sleep. And so that was really nice to be able to remember my dreams again. And like I said, it was nightly. But also, I cut out fluoride, so my toothpaste, I completely cut out fluoride a few months ago to also eliminate the chemicals and toxins, because it is a neurotoxin that does contribute to calcifying your pineal gland, which is what's responsible for, you know, your intuitive abilities and being able to be aware on that level and have, you know, your psychic abilities to be greater. So if that's been calcified, you're probably not able to utilize those abilities very well that are natural to every person. It's just a matter of how you use it. And like I said, fluoride is a known neurotoxin, and it's in our dental supplies, it's in our water, you know, and so really pay attention to even the quality of your water. You don't want to just drink a lot of your store-bought bottled waters. A lot of it will have chemicals or fluoride and what have you in there. So that was one thing I began to eliminate. Luckily, at my house, I have well water, so I figured that was more trustworthy than the store-bought water. But for you, I would highly recommend if you have, you know, tap water that obviously has been contaminated as well with these chemicals, you might want to explore investing into a water alkalizer ionizer. If that's something that interests you, I do carry one at my office for sale, and you can reach out to me if that's something you want to know more about. And so let's see, what else? I'd say like the 6th day in, I then started tasting metals in my mouth. So I'm assuming that's me, you know, detoxifying, you know, heavy metals, because I was tasting this strong metallic taste in my mouth. It was gross. And then I would say about the 10th and 11th day in, I remember I kissed my husband probably like twice, and afterwards he was like, he said, he's like, what's wrong? He's like, you taste like chemicals. So that was my sign to me that I am, you know, purging chemicals. So that's feels good to know that I'm like releasing all this stuff that's obviously been trapped in my body. So I'd say that's kind of like the things that I highly noticed. The other thing I really noticed was when I took a few clients. I didn't take too many clients during this cleanse because I didn't know how I was going to feel and if I was going to feel really weak, which you know, it is encouraged to rest a lot. So I did rest as much as I possibly could, so that your body could regenerate itself. So any heavy physical activity is not recommended to do while water fasting. But I did take a few clients at this point, and I noticed that when I started working on them and doing the laying of hands healing alongside their shamanic journey that I was facilitating, my hands were like literally convulsing, vibrating. And I don't mean convulsing because I was weak, but convulsing with so much energy. Energy was just flooding through my hands, and it was incredible. Honestly, it was more intense than I've ever felt with my normal healing work that I do. So that was really cool. On a side note, I did notice the longer I got in, I did start noticing I was getting a little bit more dizzy when I stood up. And so that could be strongly linked to being anemic, which means you might not have the proper iron sources. But I've also done a lot of exploration around the relationship of iron versus copper. So copper actually is meant to be a necessary nutrient that actually helps with this as well. So now I'm starting to work with energizing my water in a copper cup, and I plan on getting copper water bottles as well. So that'll be fun. To really bring in the nutrients from copper. And plus it's conductive, and we are electromagnetic beings at the end of the day, spiritual light beings. So here I am. Today is day I think 15, I think it is. I have to look at the calendar. But yesterday was my last day of the water fast. And I'm starting to feel so much better, to be honest. Like I said, I wish I could keep going and really see what 21 days has to offer. I've obviously dropped a good amount of weight, so I've lost a lot of that baby weight from being pregnant and what have you. So I would honestly say my body size is back to pre-pregnancy from even my firstborn, and so I kind of feel good about that, and I just feel like my energy is starting to pick up, and I feel like I'm really committing to rebuilding myself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and so I've really dedicated this month to really put all that I can back into me and to re-energize and to heal me. And so I have other things that I'm doing as well for that. But I would say that's kind of like the standardized protocol that I took to improve my state of physical health and therefore hopefully see that. The other thing though, I did eliminate or reduce, reduced my exposure to electronics, my phone, Wi-Fi, and I did notice I slept a lot better when I turned off the Wi-Fi before going to bed. And I would only try to check my phone at certain, in the morning mostly, and get back to people or emails, and then in the evenings or later at night if I needed to. And of course, unless if I had to drive anywhere, because I would need MapQuest and things like that. So, but I would say at least dramatically reduce how much I was using things like social media and my phone and Wi-Fi and computers and television. I avoided television as much as possible, outside of, putting on cartoons for a little bit for my daughter. But other than that, I think the combination really served me well, and I am noticing a dramatic difference. And today, like I said, is the first day of really re-nourishing my body. And so I made this beautiful, amazing superfood salad, and I made this superfood bone broth soup, like loaded with vegetables and certain grains. And so I'm really now putting back the nutrients into my body. So I'm kind of going to see how, once I've rebuilt myself nutritionally, how I feel, and also see how the ceremony goes, and see and compare my experience with it to some of the previous journeys that I've taken with it, where I may have slacked off on the diet and the preparation to use this medicine. So anyways, hopefully I gave you a lot of information. I'm sure I gave you too much information, but I wanted to be detailed and specific as much as possible so that you can take your own protocol. Last thing though that I forgot to mention is it's also recommended to try this. It's called, even though it's backwards in the video, but megahydrate is capsules by Dr. Patrick Flanagan, which helps with adding the hydrogen negative ions, which is meant to also help with the oxygenation in your blood and also to help process with that detoxification and to revitalize your blood with trying to become more alkaline and become more oxygenated, so that parasites can't thrive in that environment either. So I did take this as well, and it was my first time using it, even though I have come across it quite a few times. And finally I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. If I'm going all in with this water cleanse, I need to do it as best as possible, right? And so this might be something you can look into. I've also heard of something called the hydrogen cleanse. So you can look into that, like it's the hydrogen peroxide cleanse. But again, look into it because there's a full protocol on how to work with it and how to get it to what it needs. And it's a specific kind that you need to get, like, which is a 35%, and you need a couple drops in your water. Again, I didn't go that route. I've done some looking into it. Maybe later I'll try it and see if with a continuation, how I would feel if I were to continue working with that. In the meantime, I figured the capsules were the easier way for me right now, because I, like I said, I was doing a full dramatic protocol reshape of my lifestyle and diet to really support my decision towards, you know, going all in on my well-being. And I think I can say it's really starting to pay off, and I think we'll see how the next couple weeks go, and I think that'll be where I'll be able to ascertain the difference of how I felt before and after. But I can just feel, and just even my voice, I just feel so much more energized now. Whereas before, like I said, I felt really fatigued and drained and depleted, and was feeling kind of miserable, to be honest. And it was affecting my relationships with, you know, either my friends or my husband, because I wasn't in my best space. Even though I brought my best to my clients, because it's a different type of work there, and I actually feel energized when I work with clients and do healing work, and so I love doing that. But at the same time, all my other areas were taking its toll on me, because I didn't have the vitality to sustain me, to function in all these other areas, and the big responsibility of being a mother, you know, more specifically, because it's a lot of work. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you have any questions, reach out, do your research, check with your healthcare practitioner, and see if this is right for you, or just, you know, curiosity. Hope you got what you needed, for curiosity's sake, out of my video.